Lieutenant Sarah Kim's situation was, objectively speaking, completely hopeless. The Corellian hunters had cornered her in a dead-end canyon on Outpost Zeta 9. Her rifle lay 20 meters behind her, shattered. Her comm unit sparked uselessly on her belt, destroyed by enemy fire. Blood ran from a gash on her left arm, leaving a trail on the rocky ground. The three Corellians advanced slowly, their mandibles clicking with anticipation. Each stood over 2 meters tall, armed with plasma rifles and reinforced combat armor. They'd been hunting human scouts for sport. 7 kills this month alone. Another Deathworlder. The lead hunter chittered in broken standard. They died just like the others. Sarah pressed her back against the canyon wall, breathing hard. Her hand moved to her tactical vest, fingers finding the emergency medical pack. The Corellian saw the movement and laughed. What good was a bandage against plasma fire? They didn't understand what she was actually reaching for. You know what's funny about humans? Sarah said, her voice steady despite the pain. Everyone calls us Deathworlders. They think it means we're hard to kill. She pulled out a small canister from the med pack. The Corellians didn't even recognize it as a threat. But that's not what it means. She popped the safety cap with her thumb. It means we come from a world that spent millions of years trying to kill us. Every plant, every animal, every microorganism on Earth was something we had to survive. The lead Corellian raised his rifle. Enough talk, human. Sarah threw the canister at their feet, and Dove left. The capsaicin grenade, standard issue in human emergency packs, exploded in a cloud of concentrated pepper spray. On Earth, it was considered a non-lethal crowd control agent. To species that had evolved on gentle worlds with mild flora, it was absolute hell. The Corellians' screaming started immediately. Their respiratory systems, designed for clean air and mild irritants, couldn't handle the chemical assault. Their eyes, large and sensitive for low-light hunting, felt like they were melting. They dropped their weapons, all 4 hands clawing at their faces. Sarah was already moving. 5 seconds gone. She grabbed a fist-sized rock and sprinted toward the nearest Corellian. He was blind, disoriented, gasping for air that only burned worse with each breath. She brought the rock down on his primary joint cluster, not to kill, but to incapacitate. He went down hard. 10 seconds. The second hunter fired wildly, plasma bolts scorching the canyon walls. Sarah stayed low, using the cloud as cover. She came up inside his reach, driving her knee into his thorax with all her strength. The crack of his exoskeleton was audible even through his screaming. He collapsed, struggling to breathe. 15 seconds. The third Corellian was retreating blindly, stumbling over rocks, still clawing at his burning eyes. Sarah picked up one of the dropped plasma rifles, checked the charge, and aimed. Stop, she commanded. He froze, mandibles trembling. Call your ship, Sarah said. Tell them to pick up your friends. Tell them the hunt is over. 20 seconds since the grenade detonated. The Corellian fumbled for his comm unit, gasping out coordinates in his native language. Within minutes, a shuttle appeared overhead. Medical drones descended to collect the injured hunters. Sarah kept the rifle trained on them until they were gone. Only then did she allow herself to sink down against the canyon wall, finally addressing the gash on her arm with proper medical supplies. The extraction team found her an hour later. Captain Martinez took one look at the scene: scorch marks, scattered weapons, traces of capsaicin still in the air, and whistled low. 3 armed hostiles neutralized. How bad were you hit, Lieutenant? Flesh wound, Sarah replied. They had the advantage in weapons, armor, and numbers. So how did you turn it around? Sarah held up the empty capsaicin canister. Standard issue. Every human carries one. It's in the emergency medical pack for treating severe muscle pain through counter-irritation. Martinez stared at the small canister. You weaponized a pain relief spray? I improvised with available resources, Sarah corrected. That's what Deathworlders do, sir. We survive with whatever we have. The incident report reached Galactic Command within days. The Corellian Hunters Guild filed an official complaint about the use of chemical weapons. The human response was brief and devastating. Capsaicin is derived from plant matter found naturally on Earth. It is present in common food items consumed by billions of humans daily. It is classified as a non-lethal irritant for crowd control. If the complainants wish to classify it as a chemical weapon, humanity will accept that designation and will note for the record that humans regularly consume chemical weapons for recreational purposes. The complaint was quietly withdrawn. The Corellian hunters stopped targeting human scouts. Word spread through their networks. The Deathworlders carried substances that could incapacitate trained warriors in seconds. Substances they considered so harmless they kept them in medical kits. Substances they ate for fun. Sarah Kim received a commendation for resourcefulness under fire. The capsaicin canister became standard combat training material, not as a weapon, but as an example of the human survival philosophy. When you're trapped, unarmed, and bleeding, the training manual now read, remember, a human is never truly unarmed. Everything is a tool. Everything is a weapon. Your environment, your equipment, your knowledge, use what you have. Lieutenant Kim returned to active duty 2 weeks later, her arm fully healed. She still carried the standard-issue capsaicin canister. But now, everyone knew what it really was. Just another reminder that humans didn't survive their death world by being the strongest or the fastest. They survived by being the most dangerous species to corner.